Welcome to another episode of my podcast, That's Fine With Me. Today we're going to be talking about liars, and I have something interesting coming, let's say. I talked to my cousin a couple of days ago, and we discussed some couple. And I'm going to be sharing the story with you guys so you would see for yourself who is right and who's wrong. But I got into thinking, what if a lot of men are liars? Not men specifically, but married men. And when they're over probably like 45 and maybe even 50, and their marriage is a little bit old, so they get tired of this relationship and marriage and whatever. Though I know there's so many other women out there cheating on their husbands and they're liars as well. So I'm not portraying women are good, men are bad. It's not that thing. I'm just thinking, and I want you to leave your comments and share your side of the story. Probably you have something similar going on, or maybe used to have something similar going on. Let's just dive into this podcast. A couple of weeks ago, one of our sort of friends, family, I don't really want to specify who this was, came over and shared the story. Let's call this woman Anna. Anna, one of the commonest words. Anna, one of those names that can be hundreds out there. Anna got married quite early. She gave birth to her boys, two of her sons, and a couple of years ago, Anna got tired of her marriage because in this marriage, her husband didn't pay attention to her and they were living like neighbors. And Anna got into divorce. She filed for divorce, they got divorced, and she's still living with her husband. But when she was done with her marriage, she started looking for some new relationship and she needed some love, some affair to bring her to life. And she registered it on Tinder and she found a guy who was, I want to pay attention to this fact. He straightforward mentioned that he was married and he would never ever divorce his wife. And at first you would say, okay, so he at least managed that and he told that he's not going to give up his marriage. And Anna was, okay, I don't care. I need some flirting. I need some probably sex. I need some fun. Just let's dive into this relationship. They went on the first date and they had a great talk. She really liked him. Unfortunately, he said something about weird story. And this is another trick that I want to specify. He talked this pitiful story why he can't marry his wife. Divorce his wife. Years ago, when his kids were small and he has grandchildren and he has kids, when he was maybe like in his 30s, I don't know, something, he fell in love with someone else. And he wanted to get into divorce with his wife, and this woman was ready to give up her marriage as well. And when he came to his wife and told her that he would leave her and he wanted to get into some sort of relationship, an affair with the other woman, when he called his sort of lover, she backed up and she said she would never divorce her husband. That's why she changed her mind. And he, let's call him George, begged for forgiveness and his wife eventually forgave him. That's why he can't do the same thing to her again. And the moral of the story, don't register it on Tinder. But of course, he said that he felt absolutely nothing to his wife. That's why he started looking for some other relationship. He needed a partner. He needed some sort of new partnership that he could share his passion to sports and all of it. And Anna fell for it. She was glad. He was really comforting. He was really nice. And that's why she started dating George. And as I said, she wasn't expecting anything out of this relationship. Fast forward, it's been 2 years. So it's been 2 years. And early stage of their relationship, he called her or wrote her back once and said, I can't do this to my wife anymore. So I guess we should split up. And Anna was like, fine, I understand. I wasn't expecting anything from this relationship. And she forgot about him. In 2-3 weeks, he slid into her DMs again and said, how you're doing? What's up? Where you've been? And something like this. And she was like, I thought you didn't really want to shit on your wife anymore. He was like, I can't forget about you. So Anna was talking to her therapist. Her therapist said something that I guess you all already know, that this is a manipulator and he's quite dangerous because he's manipulating his way into women's heart, and probably you're not the only person he's dating, and she should run away from this guy. And most of the time, a therapist wouldn't give this sort of advice, but in this case, she recognized a manipulator. But Anna didn't really want to give up George. She felt like she had a great time. They had a lot of fun. But then things got into a little bit different way. Spoiler alert, there are not going to be any murders or anything like this. It's just some story, and we're talking about lies people are saying. This guy George, he is a huge fan of sports. He's a huge fan of skiing, going to some hikings, and all of it. And Anna wasn't a huge fan of this, but she got into this routine because of him. And George, told Anna to purchase all this expensive equipment for all of this, for skiing and whatever. And Anna actually hurt her knee, and she had to go through surgery. When she went through the surgery, she was still in a hospital, and George went with his wife to some, mountains, and his wife left a little bit earlier than the hotel was reserved. And of course, George called Anna and said that he was waiting for her to come. And she said, "I'm sorry, I'm in the hospital, and I just got my surgery." And he was like, "But please, I really want to see you, really need you here." And Anna was a fool. She came to her doctor and asked her to leave. And of course, the doctor was like, "You're crazy." But he let her live because it's like a free will and free country, so you can go whatever you want. And it's just none of my business. But the doctor warned, and he said, "So let's break your second knee just real quick, so you don't really need to hurt twice." She met him while George was in the room. He was talking through video with his wife, and Anna was sitting in the back of the room and waiting for their talk to end. But the weirdest part, every single time Anna wants to meet George, he's like, "I'm with my, kids and my grandkids. I can't live them right now just because you want this. How do you suppose I should do this?" Or she would call him to ask for a visit, and he would be, "Okay, if we meet now, then a couple of weeks we can't meet because it's going to be suspicious." First question, why wouldn't you leave your wife? If you're so unhappy in this relationship and you really like her, why wouldn't you? Because he's not that miserable in his relationship, and probably everything is quite fine. He likes, I assume that she cooks, she cleans, she raised her kids with them, a lot of history, then they have their apartment, all of that, and of course living this for some random woman that is willing to stay in this relationship just because, I don't know, she wants to have fun. It's not really fun when you have a knee surgery because of them, when you spend that much money on the equipment just because he wants to have fun with you and he wants to hike with you, but he's not paying for this equipment. You should pay for this equipment because it's his hobby. He's not participating in your hobbies. And your therapist, even your therapist, told you to leave him and run. Do not turn around. Just run and forget about the guy. And Anna, of course, does not pay attention to all the signs. And okay, 2 years later to the date, she is saying that she still doesn't really care that much, but she's considering a mortgage because she's still living with her ex-husband and her kids in the apartment, and this is her ex-husband's apartment. Then she's thinking that if she had an apartment for herself, then this guy, George, would leave his wife and he would move with her just because she has her own space. Then she said once that she would consider to give birth, just to have a kid with this guy. Spoiler alert, she can't do that, not anymore, and she's probably a little bit old for that. The reproduction, about birth, and I guess he's not interested. He has his grandkids, so he's pretty much fine with his kids. And the weirdest part, she's still denying her feelings, but she said, "Okay, I found his wife's page, and look at that. He's not hugging her back. He's not holding her, hand back. He's not kissing her back. Do you see this?" And all of it is so weird. You got into this trap. And there is a warning for all of you guys, for men and for women. If you're getting involved with a married person, you should pay attention that probably he or her are not gonna divorce anytime soon if they got into this relationship and they said that they would never divorce. The worst part is probably you are gonna fall in love with this person. It's really hard not to love someone you're dating, and if it wasn't even love from the first sight, still you got attraction. You're feeling attraction to this person, and that is the main reason why you should be cautious of the feelings that you might develop later on, and you are probably going to develop those feelings. I hate married men who are cheating. Not only married men, but women as well. And it's not about the fact they're cheating, though it's about the fact that they're cheating. It's about the feeling that you can say whatever you want. You can say like, oh, I didn't want to break her heart because I once did this and she forgave me and all of it. But you are doing the worst part. Your wife that might not even think that you are cheating, she's staying home waiting for you. And if she was divorced, she would have found someone else, probably nice guy, or like if that's a wife who's cheating, this guy would have found probably a great woman to spend the rest of the life with this person. And you're literally forcing this person to stay with you because you're married, but at the same time, you're cheating on the side. That is the main reason why I hate cheaters. They are literally damaging not only his own relationship with this girl or woman or whatever, who else, and they're actually damaging the life of their spouse. That's so bad, in my opinion. I know I watched some video of a therapist, and this therapist said a lot of her girls that were dating married guys, they were crying, saying like, oh, why isn't he divorcing his wife? I don't understand that. But when they started digging deeper into this relationship and this, mindset, they realized all this clients, they realized they felt more or less comfortable in this type of relationship. Because when you try to break down marriage, most of the time it's cooking, it's, cleaning, it's doing some stuff together that is really important. It's a necessity, okay? So you can live without these things. And look at the lowers. Look at the cheaters. When they're dating this woman or this man, they feel comfortable, but because most of the time they have sex, casual sex, and they go dating, like restaurants, and they have fun, they have romance, and they have nothing to be worried, like no family budget, like stretching or not stretching the budget. They have no kids, they have no actual problems, actual marriage problems. And that got to the point where it's so comfortable for these clients to date married guys or women because they don't really have to participate. They don't have to cook for those guys. They don't have to clean for these guys. They just have to change their shits when they're done with the sex and they're good to go. So that's it. I know a lot of women would develop this sort of relationship, but Anna is not the person who is a huge fan of kids. Okay, so Anna gave birth. She has 2 kids, 2 sons, and her second son is only like 10 years old or maybe a little bit older. And the thing here is everyone but Anna were raising her kids. Her mother-in-law, her husband, which is okay. I mean, like your husband should participate in that, but you're a mom and you should kind of participate in this as well. I feel it's weird when Anna said she was ready to give birth again because she really liked George. And it's more like about mindset again, that she would probably give birth to get him into this marriage, like with her. She really wants him badly, but she can't accept this fact because that would mean she's in love, and that would mean she can't ever get this man because she knows he would never divorce. And that is so hard. This woman, Anna, is lying to herself. George is lying to his wife and probably to Anna. And it's just all about lies. So I found this really cool article, and it says, I don't know what is the name of the article, but it's like London, and a new study has recently revealed that men lie more than women. Most of the time, long story short, it says men are lying about, money or arguments most of the time to win the argument. In this situations, they would lie. Women, most of the time, they lie to protect someone or not to hurt their feelings. I don't know if it's true or not. Frankly speaking, I can't see if someone is lying or not. When I know this person, I would probably say that he's lying just because I know him really good. But if I've never seen this person ever, and this is probably the first or second time seeing this guy or girl, I would say that it's really hard to tell who's lying. And most of the time in this article, they specify men, they try to lie to make others see them as someone reliable, to look good in someone's eyes, get something that they really want. as well as women, they would probably just try not to hurt your feelings. And that's why they would lie. And it's really interesting that it was also established that 42% said being dishonest has got them into trouble, with 27% admitted they lost friends over it. Wow, that's crazy. And it also emerged that 70% of Brits have lied to or misled insurance companies in order to get cover or while making a claim, while 25% of those admitting they completely lied on their application. Do you remember the meme with a cat? And where there's just a guy trying to catch a mouse, and there's a cat that's like, let me out of it. And there's just some sort of like, when you lied in your application. I really like this meme. And it's true. I see a lot of guys lying in their applications. It's funny. While I worked for an embassy, I got a guy. He was, I don't really think he was old enough. He was probably like 21 or 22, and this was his first ever job. And of course, he wanted to portray himself in a good way, and he wanted to look cool. So he wrote that he could speak the language of the country he was applying for, like the embassy. And I was like, what? He could speak this language, and the level was A. So you understand that this is just the lowest of the lowest levels, is just to say hello, how are you, and probably a few more rules, probably just beginner. And when I called this guy to invite him to have this sort of interview, and he was like, what language do you want me to speak? English or this language? And I was like, I don't know, probably English. That is the best option. I can talk both. And then I realized that he can't. He actually is a beginner, and he probably started learning this language when he applied to this position. And that was weird. I hated him for that. Literally. Not really hated, but I didn't really like this attitude. One thing when you lie in your application, another thing when someone calls and tells you like, we're waiting for your we're waiting for you to get to this job interview. Specifically, we're asking to come and take a test. And he was so arrogant, like talking to me, like, I can speak both. And it turned out he can't speak neither of that. So his English wasn't that good, and his other language was at the bare minimum, like beginner style. And that's why I was like, please don't hire him. Do not hire him. And it's not because of me saying like, don't hire him for that. It was just like, he lied, and then he was arrogant about that. And like, who are you wanted to hire? And would you really like to hire someone who's lying and then behaving arrogantly? You have to be respectful to someone who's calling with a job offer. I wasn't offering this job, but I was, studying all the participants because they were hiring these people instead of me. So I was sort of a little bit irresponsible, and I participated in this test. Watched how they took this test. So yeah, that's why I hate liars. And if I can bust their ass lying about certain things, I would do this. I really love it. It's just not to see, but I really want to see them, how they are gonna respond when you literally bust their ass. How are they gonna react? What are they gonna say? Are they gonna do anything? I'm just literally curious. What is it gonna be? So yeah, one thing when you're lying and you're just like staying low, not saying anything, just like, sorry, I'm not here. I lied in my application. So I'm just like, and another thing, when you lied, when you can't do that, and when you're so arrogant and so bold that you like literally shit in your pants. That's the thing. That's why, yeah, I kind of relate to the fact that most of the time we see men lying, but not always. For example, my husband, he has a guy from his work. He's always saying something weird, and he's always bragging about everything and anything. And you're like, why? Do you need some praise? Do you need someone to say, good job? Or I don't know, what is the point in that? Didn't you get enough love from your parents that you want everyone else to love you instead? And he's always sort of criticizing people for not doing the way he would do that. And my husband once followed the advice of this guy that he purchased the tool for dyeing walls. And I was so excited. I was like, okay, so he said this brand was really cool, that was nice. And then we literally taped the entire floor. We taped this, the ceiling, the floors, all the windows. We were ready. We took the paint and we got into this, I don't know, like painter. I guess this is an automatic painter, I guess. And sprayer. I guess it's a paint sprayer, something like this. And we grabbed it and I started using, and it just stuck. It didn't go anywhere. We read that we need to add a little bit of water to loosen up the paint, and we did according to the instruction. Still, just it didn't work for us. And then my husband came to work and he said, like, this is so bad. Why did you recommend? He's like, oh, I did not recommend you this. I don't know where you got this from. I was like, sure. Now you're saying you did not participate in this purchase. Okay. We didn't ask for money. Okay. It just was some sort of review, and it turned out to be the worst tool. Now we have to just like throw it away. So yeah, guys, this is pretty much it for today's podcast. What do you think about liars? Are you a liar? Are you? Or you're not? Or you're busting the liars and you love seeing them struggle with doing this? Of course, I lie. Sometimes, I guess. Do I actually lie? Most of the time I don't. And my mom, she's always like, your mouth is gonna hurt you one day. And it did. And not only one day. But I stand by my words, and most of the time I try not to lie. I see no point in that. But yeah, of course, I guess I did lie in my life. But always, I'm not trying to brag about this thing. Just like stay low, keep it low. Not brag about this thing. It's not good. And if you have a chance, just say everyone that I'm sorry. Okay, guys, and this is it. I hope I'm going to see you in my next podcast. Don't forget that I have mail in the description box. If you have any stories to share or if you have any questions to discuss, let me know through my mail. I love you all so much, and I'm going to see you in my next podcast. Bye-bye.